In 2021, 20-year-old Masten Wanjala shocked Kenyans and the world when he confessed to the brutal murder of at least 10 children in a span of 5 years. His horrific crimes left a trail of fear and grief in the communities he targeted. His violent death at the hands of an angry mob reflected the brutal nature of his crimes and the public's frustration with the police and the Kenyan justice system. In this video, we'll discuss Masten's troubled childhood, his crimes, and the incompetence that led to his escape and death. Masten Wanjala was born in 2001 in Bungoma County to Robert Wanjala and Edna Nabalayo. Unfortunately, his parents separated before he was born, and his mother briefly moved to Machakos. Around 2004, his mother Edna met and married her neighbor, Anthony Ndonye Musau. Anthony, who had accepted Masten as his stepson, worked as a welder while Edna washed clothes for a living. At the time, the family lived in Jenga, one of the largest informal settlements in Nairobi. However, like many serial killers, Masten's early life seemed to have provided the foundation for his future crimes. According to his stepfather, Masten began exhibiting troubling behavior at an early age. He became rude and started stealing money. As his parents were expecting another child, Masten became increasingly withdrawn, focusing on playing football rather than engaging in family activities. By the time Masten was in class 4, he hated going to school. He frequently ran away and missed entire months of class. Despite his truancy, his stepfather claimed that he consistently ranked as one of the top students. Unfortunately, his behavior continued to deteriorate. His parents struggled to discipline him and eventually sought help from the police, who recommended sending him to an approved school. At the time, the police told his parents that Masten's behavior was so bad that if he were old enough, they would have preferred to send him to jail. Masten was then enrolled into an approved school in Nairobi's industrial area. He was only 14 years old, but his behavior in the institution was so erratic that the administrators refused to admit him the following term. The distance from home, harsh conditions in the correctional institutions, and severe punishments given to the children in these facilities had little impact on reforming Masten. After numerous stints in police stations and dozens of beatings from his parents, Masten dropped out of school at the age of 15. One Saturday morning in 2014, Masten's mother and her sister-in-law attended a Chama meeting and planned to return home by lunchtime. The sister-in-law needed someone to watch her 7-year-old daughter, Purity, and they decided that Masten, who was the older cousin, would babysit her. After the meeting, the women returned home. Masten had prepared a meal for them and explained that Purity was at a neighbor's house. However, as time passed, Purity's mother became worried and began searching for her daughter. Masten also joined in the search, but he disappeared. Later in the afternoon, the two women discovered Purity's lifeless body hidden in the bedroom. She had been strangled to death. Devastated, the family contacted the authorities. Soon, they realized that another child in the neighborhood had also gone missing. Masten's stepfather claimed that his son fled and never came back, leaving behind a grieving family that has struggled to heal from the tragedy. However, Masten's biological father, Robert Wanjala, claimed that Masten's mother and stepfather brought him to Bungoma to hide him after he became a suspect in Purity's murder and the disappearance of another child. At the time, Robert was meeting Masten for the first time. While staying with his father, Masten kept to himself, rarely interacting with others. His only passion seemed to be football, as he only engaged in conversations about the sport. According to his aunt, the only thing he seemed to enjoy was playing football and had joined the local football club. His father found him difficult to understand. Robert attempted to enroll him in a local primary school, but Masten attended for only 2 terms before dropping out and eventually running away from his father's home. At one point, Masten lived in Kitengela, Kajiado County. He often commuted from Kitengela to California Estate in Eastleigh, Nairobi, to play football with the local boys. He was also involved with the Young Elephants Football Club in Majengo. Masten began to reinvent himself as a football coach. On his Facebook page, he claimed to have attended St. Anthony's High School and Kenyatta University. He also shared several photos of himself with young footballers and trainers, further promoting his image as a coach. In February 2018, 13-year-old Emmanuel Wafula left home and never returned. After 2 days of searching, volunteers from the community discovered his body in a pit latrine. It was clear that Emmanuel had suffered a painful death. Grief and anger spread throughout the community, and suspicion quickly fell on a local couple, Haron and Mary Ajega. Mary recounted how the furious mob believed her husband was responsible for the murder. They attacked Haron, dragging him from their house, and were intent on taking his life in retaliation for the boy's death. Mary pleaded with the mob, explaining that her husband had been unwell and bedridden on the day of the murder, but the crowd didn't listen. In their fury, they set fire to 7 houses belonging to Haron's sons, destroying everything the family owned. Fortunately, before the mob could harm him, Haron managed to escape on a boda, seeking refuge at the Kimilili police station. Among the crowd that day was 17-year-old Masten Wanjala, silently watching the chaos unfold. Over time, more children continued to go missing, and the community's frustrations grew. According to a report by Missing Child Kenya, 242 children were reported missing in 2020, including 117 boys and 125 girls. Soon, protests erupted in Nairobi as parents demanded answers for the increasing number of disappeared children, some of whom were later found dead. On June 30, 2021, 12-year-old Junior Mutoko Mosioka went missing after attending a football match in Biafra Estate in Eastleigh. His mother, Felista Wayua, received a call from the kidnapper demanding a ransom of 50,000 shillings. Unable to raise the money, the family worked with Shauri Moyo DCI, who tracked the phone used by the kidnapper. The signal led them to Masten Wanjala's house in Kitengela, where he lived with his cousin. On July 14, 2021, Masten was arrested. He was found with a mobile phone and SIM card used to demand the ransom. During his interrogation, Masten confessed to killing Junior and revealed that he had been abducting and killing over 10 minors since 2016 when he was just 15 years old. He provided chilling details of how he lured his victims, often befriending them through football and pretending to be a coach. He will then drug them with a white powder or liquid. The victims were either forced to drink it or it was sprayed in their faces. Afterwards, he would murder and mutilate them. In some cases, he even drank the blood of his victims. Masten targeted boys from areas like Machakos, Mlolongo, Kitengela, Nairobi, and Bungoma. He would then demand ransom from their families, even though the children had already been killed. Police believe that many victims were held and killed in his Kitengela home before he disposed of their bodies. His confession shocked the police, who started calling him the vampire killer. Masten showed no remorse and appeared to enjoy recounting the details of his murders and reenacting his crimes. Although the exact motive remained unclear, Nairobi Police Chief Augustine Thombi suggested that the killings could be linked to witchcraft. Masten showed his notebook to the police where he had meticulously recorded his killings. He led police to 10 crime scenes in Nairobi, Kajiado, Machakos, and Bungoma, where they recovered the bodies of his victims. He pointed out where he hid the body of a 9-year-old killed in February 2019. However, detectives did not find a body, but they collected samples and sent them for DNA identification. Postmortem results showed that some of the victims, including Junior, were strangled, while others, like Charles Opindo Bwala, suffered fatal head injuries. Charles's father, Tony Opindo, had paid a ransom, hoping to save his son, but unbeknownst to him, he was already dead. Masten led police to Bungoma, where they recovered the bodies of 5-year-old Simon Kifa Simiyu, 9-year-old Emmanuel Sikuku Wafula, 13-year-old Augustine Wafula Mukongo, and 13-year-old Aaron. Police found evidence, including clothing, at Masten's grandparents' house, where he stayed between the killings. Police revealed that his cousin, Purity, was the only female victim. As Masten led police to the crime scenes, residents were shocked and angry when they realized that they had seen him spending time with their children, unaware that he was behind the disappearances and murders. Since his arrest in July 2021, Masten Wanjala had been held at Jogoo Road Police Station but had not yet been formally charged. He had appeared at the Makadara Law Courts, where police were granted 30 days to investigate and recover the bodies of his victims. Masten was scheduled to appear in court on October 13, 2021, to face charges in 5 of the 14 cases against him. However, on the morning of October 13th, during a routine roll call at 6 a.m., police discovered that Masten had escaped. The officers quickly sounded the alarm and the hunt for Masten began. There was no sign of a break-in at the prison cell, and investigators were baffled by how a high-profile prisoner managed to escape. It appeared as if Masten had just walked out. At least 20 people, including suspects in custody and police officers, were questioned about the escape. It was revealed that the night Masten escaped was chaotic. About 50 suspects who had been arrested for violating curfew rules were placed in the cells without being logged into the occurrence book. According to officers, the station experienced a blackout and they had to use the flashlights on their phones as they separated those who were being remanded from those who were being released or taken to court. The chaos and confusion allowed Masten to slip out unnoticed. There were also allegations of corruption, with claims that some suspects paid bribes of 1,000 to 2,000 shillings for their release that night. Following the incident, the deputy OCS at Jogoo Road Police Station and 2 other officers on duty that night were detained and charged with neglecting their duty to prevent Masten's escape. It was revealed in court that the cells he was in had no internal locks, allowing male prisoners to move freely within their block. Despite Masten's status as a dangerous serial killer, no special security measures had been implemented during his 4 months in custody. It was also alleged that Masten had not been placed in an isolation cell and had allegedly learnt the routine at the station for the time he had been there. This, coupled with overcrowding and the blackout at the police station, created a perfect cover for his escape. Despite the confusion surrounding his escape, the police launched a nationwide manhunt for Masten, describing him as extremely dangerous, and appealed to the public for help in locating the fugitive. After 2 days on the run, Masten was spotted by locals in Bungoma County near his father's home. Ironically, he had attempted to join a local football match. At around 6:30 a.m., some children recognized him and raised the alarm. Boda riders spotted him and started chasing after him. According to a local eyewitness, Masten threatened his pursuers with scissors. He then jumped into a neighbor's house through an open window and locked himself inside. 3 locals followed him inside his hiding place and interrogated him. Before being lynched, Masten allegedly explained how he escaped police custody, saying he disguised himself as a petty offender and bribed the officers. He claimed to have hitched a ride on a lorry to Bungoma, and upon returning to his parents' rural home, he found that his family had disowned him and wanted nothing to do with him. He then tried blending in with the villagers, claiming that he was unaware that they didn't want him there. The 3 men eventually overpowered Masten, dragging him out of his hiding place. A mob quickly descended on him, beating him with clubs and stones until he died. The incident was captured on video, showing Masten being removed from a house and lynched. The police confirmed his identity through fingerprint verification and announced that Masten was lynched around 7 a.m. on October 15, 2021. The Kenyan Directorate of Criminal Investigations expressed regret that Masten Wanjala did not face justice, condemning the mob for taking matters into their own hands. Police stated that those involved in the lynching would be arrested and charged. Masten's body was later moved to the Bungoma County Referral Hospital morgue. The 3 police officers charged with negligence after Masten's escape were released on a cash bail of 100,000 shillings. The escape triggered widespread outrage across Kenya, with many on social media ridiculing the police and calling for the resignation of the police chief. Masten's death at the hands of a mob 2 days later highlighted the public's deep frustration with the National Police Service and the handling of the case. For many Kenyans, this was an open and shut case that was mishandled by the police. Despite months of investigations, Kenyans still questioned why Masten had not been formally charged in court for his murders. The case also caused significant collateral damage. Haron Ajega, the man falsely accused of one of Masten's murders, suffered deeply from the ordeal. Although there was no evidence linking him to the crime, his community rejected him and his reputation was destroyed. Unable to escape the rumors and rejection, Haron developed health complications. He died in 2020, a year before Masten's arrest, leaving his family devastated. The slow pace of the Kenyan judicial system worsened the situation, leaving the families of the victims without answers. Grace Adhiambo, the mother of one of the murdered children, expressed her desire to know why Masten killed her son, stating that she wished he had faced justice in court. The grieving families, many of whom were struggling financially, appealed for help to bury their children. Masten's father, Robert Watila, apologized to the families of the victims. Masten had returned to his father's village in Bungoma, where an angry mob killed him. His stepfather later stated that Masten would have faced the same fate if he had gone to his mother's home in Machakos. Despite an autopsy being performed on him, Masten's family did not attend, and his final resting place remains a mystery after his father asked the police to bury him. Masten Wanjala's story is one of extreme violence, tragedy, and the consequences of a broken system. His escape from custody was a major embarrassment for police, and his death at the hands of an angry mob revealed the public's desperation for justice, leading to important discussions about how serial crimes are handled and prevented in the future. His story will forever be a dark chapter in Kenya's criminal history. Thank you so much for listening and watching until the end. As always, I would like to know your thoughts on this case, so feel free to comment. I'd also like to thank all 5,306 of you for subscribing and interacting with my channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. My name is Faith Njoroge, and I will see you on the next one. Bye!